Peace. All praise and glory to the mighty Most High, our Creator who is one God. Blessings to you, the children that serve one God, the children of God. Peace be upon you. My best wishes for you. We're here at Exodus 22. Whoever steals an ox or sheep and slaughters it or sells it must pay back 5 heads of cattle for the ox and 4 sheep for a sheep. My question here is, what if the man's trying to feed his family? How's he going to repay? Oh, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how he's going to repay. If a thief is caught breaking in at night and is struck a fatal blow, the defender is not guilty of bloodshed. But if it happens after sunrise, why? Why sunrise? The defender is guilty of bloodshed. Is there something different between a sunrise robbing and somebody kicking in your door and robbing your home in the middle of the night? The defender is guilty of bloodshed. Anyone who steals must certainly pay restitution, but if they have nothing, they must be sold to pay for their debt. If the stolen animal is found alive in their possession, whether ox, donkey, or sheep, they must pay back double. What do you want? It's almost like you can tell that this Bible has been hijacked, and the people that got their hands on it were kind of like beastly people. They didn't know anything. You know, shit, they probably had to learn the language in the first place. If anyone grazes their livestock in a field, the offender must make restitution from the best of their own field or vineyard. Well, if the guy has something, what does that tell you? Huh? If the guy already has his own vineyard or has his own field and has his own stock and everything, why is he robbing from the people next door? Because this plane of existence is a shithole. That's why. If fire breaks out and spreads into the thorn bushes so that it burns shocks of grain or standing grain or the whole field, the one starting the fire must make restitution. If anyone gives a neighbor silver or goods for safekeeping, and they are stolen from the neighbor's house, the thief is caught, must pay double back. But if the thief is not found, the owner of the house must appear to the judge, and they must determine if the owner of the house laid his hands on the property, meaning stole it himself. So what does this tell you on this plane of existence? From me to you, as a person who's been through it all, thought that he had friends. As long as you're shelling out the money, you have friends, man. The minute you stop shelling out money, your friends all go away. That's a fact. So the property and stuff, don't worry about it, what they think. If the owner's hands are on the property and it steals it. So what I was going to say to you is, don't loan your things. What's going to happen? They're going to come back broken, or they're not going to come back at all. And that's a fact. Okay? And that's the truth, what I said. Not in all cases. You know, one of the, like, you loan somebody your tool chest, man. You just bought a tool chest from Ace Hardware and stuff. You got a 200-piece tool set and you loan it to your friend and it comes back and you got a freaking wrench missing out of it, 2 of your heads that go on, your 7/8 of wrenches will be missing, all that kind of shit. Because it's not yours or it's not theirs. And people don't care about things that aren't theirs. Try to keep a tool chest together, man. A 200-piece chest together without ever losing one piece. I've had a piece out there, a chest set, never lost any of the pieces in it. All the pieces are there. Had it for 3 years now. Why? Because I don't loan it out to people. I'll use it on a job, but I won't loan it out to somebody. In all cases of illegal possession of an ox, donkey, or sheep, a garment, or any other lost property about which somebody says, "This is mine," both parties are to bring their cases before the judges. The one that the judge finds guilty must pay back double to the other. If anybody gives a donkey, an ox, a sheep, or any other animal to their neighbor for safekeeping, and it dies or is injured or is taken away while no one is looking, the issue between them will be settled by the taking of an oath that the neighbor did not lay hands on the other person's property. You know what this all sounds like to me? Indoctrination of evil. God has got to teach us evil. Well, who got their hands on this book? The Gentile. What's a Gentile? Huh? It's a Gen-tiled in flesh. A Gentile is a Gen, which is a spirit, either good or evil. A Jinn is a spirit, either good or evil, capable of moving through a human, an animal, or humankind. Look this up. Don't you find it peculiar that a Jinn can use human, animals, or humankind? Why is there always this differentiation between a black man and a white man? Why? Because it has nothing to do with it. It has to deal with the jinn that's inside of a flesh. And they're all colors, okay? They're all nations. They're Asians. They're Canadians. They're Europeans. They're Americans, Canadian, or Australians. They're everything that sits at the United Nations. The United Nations are the beast nations. Okay? So a jinn is something that is tiled in flesh, a spirit either good or evil, capable of moving through a human, through an animal, or humankind. Because human equal Israelite, okay, and Gentile equals the beast. I know it sucks, huh? It sucks to hear this, doesn't it? But I got news for you. Your chances of salvation are much better knowing the truth. Knowing what you are, that Satan hid himself inside of the Bible here. He's done some crafty stuff by writing himself into the Bible. This is why the book of Genesis is the first book now. Because it's been written by the jinn, that were tiled in flesh. It is not the first book of the Bible. Absolutely not. There's many other books that began. There's so many books that are taken out. Don't you find it odd that there's 66 books in the Bible now? Okay? Because we live in a 666 system. Okay? The owner is to accept this, and no restitution is required. But if the animal was stolen from the neighbor, restitution must be made to the owner. If it was torn to pieces by wild animals, the neighbor shall bring the remains as evidence and shall not be required to pay for the torn animal. If anyone borrows an animal from their neighbor and it is injured or dies while the owner is not present, they must make restitution. But if the owner is with the animal, the borrower will not have to pay. If the animal was hired, the money paid for the hired covers the loss. Okay, the social responsibilities for the Israelites. If a man seduces a virgin who is not pledged to be married and sleeps with her, he must pay the bride price and she shall be his wife. I want to know, Somebody tell me, what is this price? I have no clue. I imagine that this would have to be something that goes back further than anything that I understand. A bride price. And she shall be his wife. So if he seduces a virgin, she shall be his wife. But if her father absolutely refuses to give her to him, he must still pay the bride price for the virgin. And this, to me, sounds completely nutbag. Why? Because I'm thinking, you just turned your virgin daughter into a prostitute. If you're taking money, the man demands to take her, he seduces her, he's going to take her as his wife, and the father says no. Not only that, now the father's putting the daughter in a position where she'll be committing adultery. Now, the man that seduced the daughter, or the virgin, needs to make sure that when he's seducing the virgin, that that's the woman that he wanted to take. Because believe me, I don't believe in concubines or any of that, folks. The story of Solomon should tell you that, man. Look at what that person did when he had concubines. The most wisest person in all of the Bible and all of the world, King Solomon, the wisest man that ever existed, and he had a problem with lust. The biggest problem in the lust in the world, man. More than anyone else. 1,000 wives and concubines? Come on. Do not allow a sorceress to live. Wow. A sorceress to live. And remember, that one that's created in an image of God is to shade. Remember, it's a phantom. What's peculiar about the word image? If you were to make this a sentence, what could you say? I'm a mage. I'm a mage. What's a mage? I meant to look this up. I didn't look it up. I don't know what the number is in the Strongs. If somebody wants to throw it down in there for me, I'd be appreciative of it. Mage equals I practice sorcery. Okay? Or magic. This is why magi is in the word imagination. Because that man that's created in an image of God is a phantom. It is an illusion. It's a representative figure. Especially an idol. That man that's created on the 6th day of creation is an idol. Okay? So, God here, the Lord, the self-existing eternal spirit, saying not to mess with sorcery, not to mess with magic. Okay? Okay, anyone who has sexual relations with an animal is to be put to death. That means that if you're banging your little sheep in your barn house and you get away with it and nobody sees you, you think, where the men are men and the sheep are scared and you don't care about any of that, you will be put to death. Spiritually tormented. Tormented, folks. It's an abomination to the Creator to lay down with an animal. Whoever sacrifices to any other god will be destroyed. Now we're starting to get into other gods. It's starting to become more prevalent. Starting to become more known now. Now you have the word gods that are coming in. Why? Because mankind, who's created on the sixth day of creation, is created in an image of God. These mages, these magic men, these magus, these magicians is what they are out to pull tricks over your eyes, man. Do not mistreat or oppress a foreigner, for you were foreigners in Egypt. Egypt is slavery. It's bondage. Okay? Do not take advantage of a widow or the fatherless. If you do, and they cry out to me, I will certainly hear their cries. Now you know that this has to be a spiritual thing that is hearing their cries. Has to be. Because you could cry in private all day long inside of your room, inside of your head. Nobody's going to hear your cries but the eternal Spirit. You got to start deciphering when it is that the Spirit's talking in this Bible, man, because you got Gentile who are jacking this thing all to hell and writing it. You see, I want to explain something to you, and I don't mean this to be mean, but I mean it to be true as it is, as it is to the Word. That this book was written by the Israelites. It was written by chosen children, prophets of the Most High, the Creator, okay? It was written, a wonderful manuscript, perfectly written, I imagine. And then what happened is the Hebrew Israelites seemed to want to join into the Gentiles' pagan religions and their pagan worship of other gods and calling on other gods. The special children of the Most High had a bout with Satan that this is what it's about. It's about a battle for your soul, period. Nothing else. It's a battle for your soul. Okay? My anger will be aroused and I will kill you with the sword. Now, the sword comes from a man which the Spirit uses. So if you're pissing off God's chosen children and they are servants of the Most High, they worship Him, they praise Him, they give all glory to Him. He is the supreme being. He is the only one that they seek, all of that. And you do something wrong against one of God's chosen children, and they cry out the way I did. I cried out and He answered. He didn't put anybody to death, but He showed me that a lot of people are going to be put to death, right? Maybe myself, even one of them. I don't know. I've done a lot of unsavory acts, fornications and stuff when I was in my 20s and 30s and up to my mid 40s. I had a high body count, so that's why I'm single today. I'm sure of it, because I've been punished for it. But at least I'm grateful and understand that I'm being punished for it. So God will use mankind, which is the Spirit that uses mankind to destroy you. Your wives will become widows and your children fatherless. If you lend money to one of my people among you who is needy, do not treat it like a business deal. Charge no interest. That's where you have usury in the Bible. Okay? You can't do usury, folks. God's telling us not to do usury. What does the bank do? They created this money mound construct, fake monopoly money, put you in this system, they give these loans. You understand? People who are intelligent have an idea to do what's right for the world, and the government will come in and flip the switch on you every time. They'll steal your product from you. If you're not willing to work with them, they'll do everything they can to steal that patent from you as far as breaking in, kicking in your doors, stealing your laptop, stealing your information, taking it all from you, because that's the way they operate. We have water, salt water, that can ignite and burn. It's been proven. Salt water that can run vehicles and stuff. Scarier thought now that if you can make salt water with the tank like acetylene burning a line right through some metal with seawater, you can see the condensation of the seawater running down the thing at the same time. Perfect, clean fuel. At the same time, you leave no waste at all other than the material that's burning off. Not the gas that's burning off. So now the bigger thought to think of is, wow, mankind has figured a way to ignite salt water. Satan is going to be in a blazing hell of fire. This is madness. This is complete mind-bending information. Don't treat it as a business bill. Don't charge them interest. If you take your neighbor's cloak as a pledge, return it by sunset, because the cloak is the only covering your neighbor has. What else can they sleep in? Now, does that not sound like some whitewashed shit right there? It sounds like some whitewashed shit to me. That makes no sense. So you got a buck-ass naked man running around in barns trying to find some clothing to cover himself up with. When he cries out to me, what else can they sleep in? Hey, I get it if they need to sleep in something, but the question to ask yourself, why? Why doesn't the man have any clothing? He says, but the person, when they cry out to me, I will hear, for I am compassionate. Okay? Compassionate. Do not blaspheme God or curse the rulers of your people. So your rulers of their people are your prophets, right? Isaiah, Nehemiah, just a few. Ezekiel, Moses, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Okay? It's funny that all these prophets here, the only one that's doing the writing is Moses, to come later. Okay? Do not hold back your offerings from your granaries or your vats. You must give me the firstborn of all your sons. Wow. Now I got to ask you, who are you giving your son to? Firstborn of your sons. Huh? Firstborn over all creation is Jesus, proven in Colossians 1:15. For the Son, Jesus Christ, is the image. Jesus is the mage. Jesus is the phantom. Jesus is the one that's created on the sixth day of creation. Jesus is the resemblance. Jesus is the one they say in Maccabees 3:48, for they opened up the book of the law, the Torah that I'm reading from for you right now, opened up the book of the law and painted the likeness of their image. So, Israelites, I lost my train of thought earlier, but it just came back to me. Israelites, they say that this book here is their book, and it is. That's what I was getting at, is this book was written by the Israelites. It was their book. Okay? No question about it. Here's the problem, is the Gentile got their hands on it. All right? and they changed all the scriptures in the book. They mangled this thing up. They destroyed the book. They put themselves in the book. They've taken books out of it. The Creator himself says, do not add to or take from my word. So clearly, whoever's adding to or taking from the word is causing what? Change. Okay? The Old Testament means change. And we're going from granaries and vats all of a sudden to give me your firstborn son too while you're at it. Where's he going? Come on, Hebrews. Somebody with wisdom, somebody, where are the children going? Who are these firstborn children being given to? You are to give my... These are supposed to be an everlasting covenant. There's got to be somebody out there that can answer these questions. Huh? It's the same thing as Christian ministers, man. They have no answers for the questions. Even Hebrew, I ask questions. No, I don't get any answers when I ask these questions. You must give me the firstborn of your sons. Who? Who? The Creator? I don't understand. Help me understand. Do the same with your cattle and your sheep. Let them stay with your mothers 7 days, but give them to me on the 8th day. So requiring a child to be turned over to what? Oh, beautiful. I'm telling you right now that whatever's going on here, this firstborn son that's being asked for from the Hebrew people is a magistrate, which is somebody in power. And why does he want your firstborn children? And more importantly, why would you give your child up to a slave system? Because you guys have got Stockholm syndrome, man. You think that you really are free. You have been suckered, Hebrew women, suckered into the Gentile ways, man. Blasphemy. Magistrate. What do we have here? A magi. A magic man. It's what it equals. Okay, a magic man. It is somebody who can perform major illusions. And he uses all those that consider them gods. Many gods. We live in a hive, folks. Just like a beehive, when the queen knows that its nest is under attack, it creates warrior bees. The same exists on this plane of existence here. We live in a hive. You can be stalked by literally hundreds of people through the course of the day if they're trying to create this fear in you. I know, because once I found out the truth that the woman that I was laying down with was a government whore, once I learned the truth on that, found photos on her phone of all the evil that takes place with our government officials, police officers, captains, all of it, okay? I found out the truth. I saw it. And they did some abominating things. They sent that woman over to my home and she did abominating things. I did abominating things, man. I'm going to burn for my fornications. Okay? So, whoever's asking for your child, your firstborn child, is a magistrate. It's a man in power, man. And sorry, folks, I just don't buy into all these laws. Remember, these are man-made laws, and these are also the laws of Yahweh. So, the Spirit of God, is He asking for your children, the firstborn child, as a spiritual blessing for him to be, the firstborn child to be guided, to be brought up in honors? I have a difficult time with rich people of any kind at all. Any kind at all. Doesn't matter what your color is, who you are, whether you're Hebrew or whether you are a Gentile. I always ask, who is it that the Hebrew is being blessed from? What Lord on this plane of existence is the one that's given? The supreme creator is the one that gives and takes. He's the one that makes live. He's the one that makes die. He's the one that lifts from the ash heap. He's the one that spread out the heaven. He's the one that spread out the earth alone and by himself. So he uses our bodies as conduits. He uses the Gentile as non-playing characters, those empty shells, to correct you. He created them evil, and he doesn't want you to engage with the evil. It's there to look at, observe, and say, oh, I don't want anything to do with that. Not sit there and say, oh, I'd like to be part of that. And that's basically what's taking place. Is the children of the Israelites have become disobedient to the Creator. Most have become disobedient to the Creator, and he's punishing you. He's still punishing you. So we're seeing a shift here and change, and a lot of truths that are coming out. A lot of truths. The Creator says, you are to be my holy people. So do not eat the meat of an animal torn by wild beasts. This entire part right here is all, to me, could be a metaphor. The wild beasts, we all know that this is Genesis 1:25. God created the beasts of the field. Well, the beasts are wild beasts. Do not eat the meat of an animal torn by wild beasts, meaning like a butcher shop. We ain't supposed to be, a Hebrew Israelite isn't supposed to be going to a shop and buying butchered meat and stuff from the shop. This is what it means, man. So do not eat meat of an animal torn by the Gentile. Cut up by the Gentile. Okay? Throw it. Oops, spelt it wrong. Throw it. Throw it to the dogs. Okay? When Jesus said, do not cast your pearls before swine, he was talking about the Gentile. Okay, you got to understand when these people are... Satan wrote himself inside of this book. And the Gentiles are all kinds of different names. So that's it, man. All praise and glory to the Most High, our Creator, who is one God. There's none like him. Bow your heads and let's pray. Our Creator, the Spirit which moves all things, the Almighty Presence, your power, your source. You are all things that can be seen and all things behind the scenes which cannot be seen. You are my Master. I serve you. I humbly drop to my knees. I call on you. I beg you on that day of judgment that you would save me from the fire. Save anybody who calls on you and turns back to you. Lord, repents to you daily, calls out to you daily. Please keep us safe from the evil wolves that are out there at every corner, every street, every home, damn near in America, Lord. Please protect us. I ask all these things only in your almighty presence, my Creator, the living God, Spirit of truth. This is White Raptor News Ministries. Peace.